What is going on? This is Clean Hits Live. We got Clean Hits Corey. We got Kenny here. I am Brad. Unfortunately, Trent, I think, is in the midst of a move. And I mean, this guy's from Arizona. I do not understand it, but you're not supposed to move in the middle of summer out here.
No.
So I don't know what he's thinking.
Guy's a lunatic. I guess if there's any week to do it, it'd be this one, right? I mean, it's
I
a
guess,
little weird. But man, if anybody isn't aware of the phenomenon that is called a haboob, and look it up, I'm not making it funny. A haboob is a giant sandstorm, and it happens in just random places all around the world, but Arizona is known for them. And I don't know if it hit you as hard as it hit me last night, Brad. That was insane. It just got dark. It was. I was about to go outside and grill some bratwurst, and I'm like, oh, it's getting a little sketchy out there. Maybe I'll wait. And then I'm like, yeah, some dirtwurst for sure. It probably would have tasted better than what actually ended up coming out. Sorry, but yeah.
The good news is the backyard's already destroyed, right?
So yeah. Oh my God. I can only tell you guys about the recent weeks I've had, and I won't get into it maybe after the chat, guys, but yesterday was banana lands for me. And I literally was sprinting in a full-on sprint to get to this podcast on time. I think I stumbled in a couple minutes beforehand. So if I'm a little rusty and out of breath, that's the reason why.
Yeah. Summer's been kind of opposite for me. I've been enjoying it. Sorry.
Sounds great.
I just got back from a nice long trip in the Sonoma County area of California. So nice and relaxing. We brought the dog.
Happy International Dog Day.
Is that today?
Yeah, it's International Dog Day.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We'll give him some extra cheese tonight. But yeah, I can't believe it's almost September. Corey, how about you? You hanging in there?
Yeah, I feel like I did a bit of a hockey hiatus for August. Never really done that before. Never really unplugged. So it was kind of nice, but at the same time, now we're, I feel like I blinked and now we're 20 something days away from rookie camp, right? So not too far off.
Yeah, which is really crazy. And it feels like the season's going to be coming up really, really quick. I always feel like September pokes its head around and you start hearing a little bit more news. And then if there's a little bit of a lull, especially once training camp starts, there's some excitement and then some cuts get made and then rosters are kind of finalized. And it's not as much of like a ramp up as some other sports, I feel, but it's hockey and that's great. So what we're pretty much doing today is just going to take some questions. So get in here, get in the chat. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We have some topics, some things that we kind of want to bring up again. There's only been a little bit of news. Obviously, we're not one of those podcasts that are on every day, even every week during the off season. So it's nice to get back in here and chat a little bit. Trent's been doing some awesome things while we're all kicking our feet up. Doing the Prospect Showdown series. So make sure you catch both of those episodes on our YouTube. He had Prospect Don on to defend the Chicago Blackhawks against the Mighty Mammoth. And he did another series with Ottawa Senators, and we'll have one with a Montreal Canadiens prospect guru this Friday. Hopefully that'll be out either Friday evening or Monday, depending on when I get in there and edit it all up and do my magic.
Shout out to Prospect Don and Rocco Zappia. That was really entertaining stuff. Like Brad was saying, there's not a lot of podcasts that go every week, maybe besides the heavy hitters like Chicklets and everything, but they're really just doing reruns of interviews that they recorded a while ago. So there's not a lot to talk about. So Trent, Rocco, and the Prospect Don really gave us some meat to chew on. That was really fun. So make sure you check them out.
Yeah. And then earlier this summer, we had Big Head Hockey on. That is a must-watch episode.
Yeah.
Seeing the creator of some of the best hockey content. He just dropped a new episode about Connor Bedard and if he should be considered a former generational prospect already. Another really, really good video by him. And he had another one on kind of how the Sharks are rebuilding. That would be one of those showdowns where Utah may struggle against. But otherwise, if you're not already following SLC Puck, I don't know what you're doing because he's been entertaining all off season. There's the hat. So make sure you are catching him if you need that mammoth content straight to your veins all day, every day. He's been fantastic all offseason and been to stay in the loop even. But
you can learn how sexy Karel Vejmelka is. That was so funny to listen to. There was a whole shrine episode for Karel Vejmelka. It was awesome.
Yeah. But some small little tidbits. I get this one's. I would say this is medium newsworthy for the Utah Mammoth, and that is Connor Ingram may make his return this season. The official announcement that he's out of the player assistance program, correct? Has he been reportedly training or with the team at all yet? I know everybody's kind of scattered still, but
I don't know if he's been training. I don't really know the parameters of that program, how it works, but we saw what the type of goalie he was in Arizona. He tied for the league in shutouts that last season in Arizona, right? 6 shutouts. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't think he really has a guaranteed spot right now because it has been so long since he's played consistently, and did bring in a pretty good backup in Vanacek as well, right? So we're gonna have a bit of a 3-head goalie issue training camp, but I think they're going to hang on to all 3 goalies. It's kind of a pain with the roster limits, but I don't think any of those. I don't think someone's going to go on waivers.
Yeah. It will be interesting though, because, and we'll get to this in a little bit, because the roster is pretty cramped too. So carrying that extra goalie means one less forward or defenseman you can carry too. But part of me does really want that optionality, if you will. I have to, and I can. Of Ingram being somebody who can be able to take a starting role if needed, if he can get back into that type of shape. Because as eye-opening as Vejmelka was last season, I still have reservations. Yeah.
It's nice to have healthy competition, and quick shout out to Connor Ingram. I'm glad he's doing well and he feels better, and he's back to a point where he feels like he can get back to what he loves to do. And we all saw it, when he's on top of his game, he was a starting goalie last year. He was a starting goalie out of preseason. He was our guy. And so if you can have a Vejmelka, Ingram, and Vanacek 1-3 punch, if you will, it makes for an interesting problem, but a good problem nonetheless.
And when was the last time we had 3 viable goalie options? It's been a bit, right?
David Agnesberg,
Alden Tellquist.
Oh man. Alex Alden, Mikhail Tellquist. Yeah,
you got to go really far back, right? Because a lot of this, the goalies on this team have just been waiver wire types, and we've had some good results. But let alone we've rarely had 2 good goalies, let alone potentially 3.
Yeah,
I was trying to think when Dubnyk was on the team, because we traded for him from Edmonton, right? Or did we grab him from waivers from Edmonton? And we already had Mike Smith.
He was a free agent, but then he played well. But that was the year Mike Smith kind of crashed and burned. But we still
so we traded him. But to me, that means we had a third, right?
Yeah.
Who would have been our third stringer that year? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
Okay. And that would have been the most recent one I can think of.
Yeah, and just in case any other NHL general managers are listening, because I know you are. If you are looking for a premier goalie, just grab one from this franchise. For whatever reason, we just pick people out of nowhere and turn them into starters. Dubnyk turned into a starter. Obviously Smith. Brzgalov is an interesting
Kemper
one.
Won a cup.
Kemper won a cup. There's just,
he was
solid in LA last year too.
Yeah.
So that season, Mike Smith 62 games, Devin Dubnyk 19, Mike McKenna 1, and Louis Domingue was a third stringer, 7 games.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Oh wait, so was that the season where Louis Domingue gets completely emotionally destroyed by Corey Perry in the preseason?
No, I think that was
when he got screamed at.
That was the first year under Tocchet, so I think that was because Antti Raanta got hurt.
Oh, you may be right.
that was probably our last year with great goalies, Raanta and Kemper. were like 930 in that Chaika season, and then Kemper got hurt, and then Ranta got hurt, and then it all went to shit. But
yeah, what else is new?
Yeah.
Go on waivers, and that doesn't account. Okay, I'm gonna just read it. If a goalie doesn't go on waivers, then one of the presumably regular skaters goes to waivers, and that doesn't account for a prospect crack. Yeah,
I'd rather risk a forward than a goalie.
I think this is a nice little transition, and we were kind of talking about before, and we also have a comment from Third Gen Aggie that kind of goes right into this, and that is kind of the top 6 is pretty clear, right? Gunther, I'm just listing them right now. Gunther, Cooley, Keller, Schmaltz, JJ Peterka, and Hayton. In some capacity, those 6 are probably going to be playing those 2 top forward lines for the majority of the season. I would say there's a chance that maybe Kraus finds his way up with somebody like Peterka, who may in like a Cooley line or something like that. But I would say for the most part, that top 6 is pretty well set. Bottom 9, or even the top 9, when you add in Kraus, McBain, and
Kerfoot.
Yeah,
Kerfoot or Tanev, or so that's where it starts to get a little blurry. And then as you go further down, it gets a little bit blurrier because I'm going to say it again, of this team's optionality at forward right now. And that's between maybe 1 or 2 prospects who may linger into the beginning of the regular season from training camp.
Right.
And because of the just depth they have. Don't forget, they essentially had to move Michelli because he lost the spot in the top 6 last season and just was not effective in the bottom 6. So right now on daily faceoff, Kraus, Jack McBain, Kerfoot as line 3, Liam O'Brien, Stenlund, Tanev as a 4th line. I personally would love to see if Tanev can cause some havoc on the 3rd line. But
I think that's where I see him.
Me too.
Yeah, I see him on the 3rd.
This is not listing Carcone though, which allows
matters.
Then that allows kind of the Liam O'Brien caliber player to kind of come in and out of the lineup, which I think is definitely preferred. What this doesn't account for at all, though, is the potential of rookies or prospects taking a roster spot and keeping it. And I'm going to put out 3 names of forwards who I think can potentially do that. Daniil Boot, I think, has the highest likelihood of making the team out of camp and never getting sent down to Tucson. I think Bill Armstrong has said as much in media conferences that they are completely okay with playing in Tucson. And it sounds like the Russians have even talked to management about this. So I don't think they're going to keep Boot up just to keep him up. I think like all these players, will need to completely impress and show that they have no reason to go down. Number 2, I mean, you can't count Tej out of this yet, Tej Ginla being probably the highest skilled forward out of all the prospects in the pipeline. Desnoyers, who they drafted 4th overall this season, will probably be more of that 2-way. Ginla may be right up there with Dylan Gunther in terms of goal scoring ability in this pipeline. And he has a lot of tenacity. He's kind of that typical hockey player where he's a puck hound as well, and could bring a lot of energy and elements to a 3rd line along with his skill that this team could be looking for. Right. And then I'm going to throw out, I lied, 2 more names. Julian Lutz, who we didn't see too much of in Tucson, but we know he's friends with JJ Peterka, and he's kind of that energy 4th line, 3rd line guy. And then friend of the show, we got to talk to him back in June, Owen Allard, who just really impressed me when me and Corey were able to talk to him with his maturity, his leadership, and he's one of those players that kind of understands the role that he may be given and is okay with playing that. And, if there's an injury or something, I could see maybe one of those 2 really kind of taking a spot in the bottom 9. And any other players I'm missing or disagree with any of that?
I think the only rookies could be Boot and Simashev. I think Iginla is going to go back to Kelowna. I think Bill Armstrong and John Ferguson have just been so adamant that they got to follow all these steps, right? And it's a big year for Kelowna, right? They have a chance to win the Memorial Cup. Teach can go and win a gold medal with Canada, gold medal at the World Juniors.
Starting this already.
Right. And then the other guys, they're going to be on this team eventually, but right now their contract just dictates where they're going to play when Alex Kerfoot's gone, when those other types. I think, going back to the goalie conversation about looking for a contract spot, put Michael Carcone on waivers, put Liam O'Brien on waivers, put Scott Perunovich on waivers. No one's going to claim them. And then that rule has not kicked in yet where they don't actually have to go to Tucson. They can just still hang around Salt Lake City.
Right.
So I think that's just that's the easy move there. And Carcone didn't really play last year, and now the team's better. So I don't really see a spot for him.
No, I don't mind that at all. And again, this is a little bit of a hypothetical. And again, I really like the idea of a Carcone and Liam O'Brien kind of shuffle throughout the season if we are not hanging on to one of the kids. For Tej going back, I would not be completely shocked if Daniil Boot goes to Tucson to start the season. Tej gets a couple game tryout too. I think there would have to be some parameters here of him absolutely forcing his way to do this because, like you mentioned, this is a huge, huge season for him in the WHL as well. There's really no need for him to stay on the lineup besides getting that taste of the NHL. And this is a team that's going to be fighting for the playoffs. So he will have to prove that he is going to win them games rather than potentially put them in a spot where they leave a soft goal because his NHL IQ isn't quite there yet.
And after such a significant operation, I'd much rather him go in there and play with some confidence rather than having to be force-fed NHL style of play. I want him to get comfortable skating again. This is such an important prospect for us. It really is. He's an explosive player. And after the summer we had and the players we've drafted, it's sometimes hard to remember how exciting of a prospect he truly is because he was our firstborn, right? But he's an outstanding player, and we need to make sure we're not taking any unnecessary risks. And I fully agree. I mean, maybe give him a cup of coffee in the beginning of the year and just say, hey, you know what? One more development year, and this spot's yours. I truly think he may just completely forego the AHL and just be a full-time NHL player after that. But who knows?
Yep. I think that's most likely what happens here. But Tej puts up, 5+ goals during preseason and fits like a glove on the third line with McBain and Krause. What are you going to do?
Yeah. We're also forgetting guys like Kyler Yamamoto too, that it was over a point per game in Tucson and got a little taste at the end of the year as well. So it's going to be a logjam of rookies testing the old blood, and it's going to be exciting. Could be an actual bloodbath in training camp.
If someone really shows that they're ready to go, do you create a roster spot? So like if Iginla shows he's ready, if he gets 7 goals in training camp in preseason, do you trade Nick Schmaltz to make a spot for him?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either. But do I see if there's a team like Colorado or Vegas who may not have the same forward depth and need cheap roster spots and see if they're interested in a Carcone? Yeah.
Yep.
I think, Carcone, I could see.
Move I really thought they should have done last season when both of those teams were in desperation mode. But
right. And Carcone, I see, and Schmaltz is the guy that we always target as someone that's probably going to be traded off this roster for either future talent, which I doubt at this point. It's probably going to be a player for player swap. But he's got so much chemistry with this team, specifically some of our top guys, and he's entering into a contract year, right? So he is going to play his bag off, and that's the kind of player that you want. I mean, look back at like Nazem Kadri in his contract year, had the best year of his life, and he secured the bag. Nick Schmaltz may be realizing like, hey, I'm on the outside looking in here. I can kind of see the writing on the wall. I'm gonna lay it all out. Give them no other reason to not play me on the top line or at least the top two lines. And I'm going to put up my best statistical year, try to get to the playoffs and secure a bag in the rising cap, which I have no doubt in my mind there's going to be lots of teams that would be interested in Schmaltz. So I, as much as I'd like to see a rookie like Tej put up 7 goals in the preseason, we also do have to remember it's the preseason.
Totally.
And it's of course you can see their style of play and their tenacity and what they're doing and making the smart plays, but come the first game in October, it's a completely different league than it is in preseason.
And Flo brings up a great point in the comments. I'm just going to pop that on the screen. Maybe by inviting Iginla or the team sending him to the NHL Rookie Showcase, that is kind of their way of giving that little bit of a cup of coffee so he can kind of showcase his talents in front of the league with other players around his age group as well. But again, injuries can happen too. So there's always some of these situations where the unexpected happens, and now all of a sudden you're relying on a rookie to really kind of pull through. But again, in that case, as long as it's not somebody in the top 6, I think Tej still would be battling against Daniel Boot for a spot on the third line, and an older prospect like Lutz or Allard, who may be better fitting in the bottom 9, especially that fourth line. If let's say Kerfoot has an injury and will be out for a couple weeks. So go ahead.
Can I just quickly mention something on Daniel Boot? It's just kind of a random squirrel thought.
Yeah.
You know how I know that we are no longer the Arizona Coyotes or the Phoenix Coyotes? Do you see the number that Daniel Boot is rocking?
Is it 19?
Do you guys see? It's 19.
Wow.
It's 19. Yeah, I think he was number 50 throughout his entire career in Russia, and obviously that's held down by Dursey. And I was thinking he was going to go like 51, which is kind of a lame number or something like that. No, he went right out the board. And we are going to see someone from this organization again donning the number 19, which is going to be a little bit weird, but hey,
that will be.
Yeah,
we absolutely need to get Daniil on the show to ask him.
Yeah, we're going to trade away.
What made you pick that number?
We're going to trade away Josh Stone and assign number 19 in the same offseason. This is a little bit of a head rush, but hey, it is what it is. But no, I just thought it was funny when we said that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I agree with you guys. I think that if there's anybody that's going to be cracking the lineup out of their entry level, words are hard today. Entry level contract. It's going to be Simashev first, Boot second, and then the wild card option being Tej again. I don't see Cole Baudouin. Wow, I'm seriously struggling, guys. Got a mouthful of marbles. I don't see Cole. Yeah, right. Baudouin being an NHL player just yet. I'd love to see what he can do in the AHL first. And I think especially the position he plays, if we want him to be a natural center, and him being a big boy that can potentially learn to be an elite third line center that can cause some havoc in a checking role, that's a player that you need to send to the Always Hungry League and really learn how to fight.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And yeah, I didn't even bring up Simashev. I almost have penciled them in to the roster at this point. But and that's partially because they do need to integrate these kids throughout the next couple seasons. We can't just have Simashev, Boot, Iginla, and maybe somebody else make the roster next year while they're still trying to maintain playoffs or bust mentality. So should be interesting. And again, throughout the season, obviously there are injuries. So all those names outside of probably Iginla, if he gets sent down, will probably get some sort of cup of coffee this year. I would really expect Daniel Boot to be playing some NHL games. And then if some injuries happen in that bottom 9, I kind of feel like with Yamamoto there, he's probably the next call up, but maybe a Lutz or a Allard sneak in as well, but we shall see. And actually, now that I just said that, Yamamoto kind of probably kills any chance of Allard or Lutz to make it out of camp. Anyways, that will be kind of one of those things to look for. Again, get in the chat. Let us know your questions. We got that right on the screen in the bottom right, too. And if you're watching on YouTube, we do have some of those super subs. It's a great way to kind of support the podcast. And of course, we have all of our merch at shop.cleanhitshockey.com, where you can find awesome shirt designs like my Dylan Gunther shirt, or the Club Mammoth shirts, or we have did they change their name yet? Donor Nation. We have the Donor Nation Cooley shirt. And in fact, I actually went to the Charles Schultz Museum in Santa Rosa and saw where a lot of original pieces by the creator of Peanuts and his hockey rink, which is right next to it. But
what about the Jack McBabes or
that's good.
Yeah. I don't know, veggie, got something around veggie. We can come up with something. We'll maybe throw out a poll or something that to the Donor Nation and get them involved and see what they want.
I think they need to figure out how they're best going to move on and what those next steps are. But we can give them some light suggestions as well.
For sure.
All right, we grabbed some questions from the chat from Third Gen Aggie. Gunther Peterka, who gets the top line? Ooh boy,
it's a tough one.
I think Gunther, because he has the chemistry with Keller. I think the first and second line are almost interchangeable anyway. So I think, labeling it 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is a little bit separate, but 1, 2, and 3 is so different nowadays, right? But I would say Gunther.
I'd have to agree. I don't think that you can break up that top line. We officially have a legitimate sniper, a legitimate number one center, and our first 90-point player. How do you break that up? It's tough. But to Corey's point, this is not the NHL of the early 2000s where you were a designated first line player, designated second line player, and so on and so forth. It's all interchangeable. So we could see, Hayton starting on the top line one game, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden we get a power play and it's Gunther, Cooley, and Keller, or it's Peterka and Gunther with Cooley, because they having Gunther and Peterka flanking the wings on a power play has to be one of the scariest things that we could see, right? Both of those guys have lethal shots. And I'd love to see them on the same power play. It's like having two Ovechkin lights on the wings, and an Ovechkin light is still like the best
a left shot and a right shot as well.
Totally. And they play off their off wings, don't they? Like Gunther plays on his off wing. Yeah, and I think Peterka does as well. So that kind of fits like a glove. And now, so
I'll do a follow-up question. Do you think they run with 5 forwards on the power play?
I hope not.
I don't think you can do that when you have when you have someone like Sergachev.
And Dursey, right? That's where he needs to play. So
his bread and butter is on the power play.
I just have the 5-4 things. Remember when Dave Tippett continued to put Mikhail Bodker on the blue line and he missed the puck every time?
Yeah,
I just have like PTSD back to that. So I'm not no more 5 forwards on the power play.
Yeah. All right.
That's where we truly saw Bodker's speed. His elite speed is when he fumbled the puck and had to go chase it down. The draft report got me really excited. This is the fastest player. I'm like, this is how we're using it.
I'm really interested to see how those top 2 lines pan out, though, because there's been a lot of concern and a lot of discussion of this in our Discord about JJ Peterka and Schmaltz being on the same line and how much of a defensive liability that potentially would be. And if we're saying those 2 lines are interchangeable, that may not be the case if they're losing minutes because of defensive responsibility, or if they're not getting many defensive draws because they're a liability in their own end. Then you would probably clearly have a top line and then that second offensive forward group, and then your 2 bottom 6 lines. But I think this will probably be a question that either gets answered very quickly in training camp, as the lines we're predicting are kind of how it settles, or they mix them up and start to see where the chemistry fits and see if, Keller and Peterka work better together. Because I have no problem with Schmaltz setting up Gunther all day, every day. Or maybe it's one of those situations where Hayton's the top center with Keller and Schmaltz even. And Peterka, Gunther, Cooley seems a little rowdy, but
I was excited at the prospect of Hayton, Schmaltz, and Keller a couple years ago. I don't want to do that again. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's Hayton is a notorious slow starter, and that's not something that you want on your first line of defense. It's probably the worst way to say that. First line of offense, I guess. But you catch my drift. A dark horse situation, which would probably piss off Schmaltz quite a bit. But what if it's Gunther, Cooley, Keller, and then the second line we've got Hayton and Peterka on the right wing, and then we've got someone like McBain on the left. More of a
I know. I mean, again, I could see that being Kraus too, potentially. If
Kraus, I don't think it can be McBain because I think we need him at center, right?
So it'd probably be Kraus, which would mean Peterka's shifted to the right wing.
Yeah, that's right.
Kraus has played right before, right?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
that's why I think it's a big year for Hayton, not only because of the contract coming up, but I mean, he's played on the top line, obviously, where he got to play with Keller and Schmaltz, so 2 top line players, or top 6 at least. But now, because we brought in Peterka, like, it doesn't matter if Hayton's on the top line or the second line. He's going to be playing with some high quality players. Like in the past, that second line we've had to fill with Carconi and Kraus and whatever, who just are not at that same level. So big year for Hayton for sure. Like, can he and break 55 points?
That would be fantastic. And I do think there's my preference is he's on line 2. My preference is
Keller,
Hayton? Cooley, Gunther, Schmaltz, Hayton, Peterka. And just let that second line. Hopefully Hayton can cover up mistakes. Hopefully we get a little bit more hustle out of Schmaltz, and hopefully maybe even Peterka really kind of concentrates a little bit more on his defensive side of things now that he's in the new environment. But I think Hayton being on that second line would really help him offensively too. Just not having to go up against top defensemen, not going up against the top center all the time, and not being the guy that has to focus on shutting down McDavid's and McKinnon's and another center that will have a Mick first or last name in a couple of years of McKenna down the road. So
I think that we've seen these flashes from Hayton. We know what he can do. The only thing that should hold him back, and I'm saying that obviously not hopefully speaking, but the only thing that really should hold him back from being a 50-plus point player if he's playing with Peterka is if he gets injured again. And obviously we don't want that, but I mean, if he's playing the entire year with someone like Peterka, a dynamic offensive player like Peterka, and he still is struggling to stay on that line or produce points, then it might be time to just say, hey, we tried, it didn't work, let's get a change of scenery here.
Which goes right into this question from Flo and a little segue I'd like to do. Corey, get your
candlelight vigil.
Dream. I'm sorry, Corey.
It's a hell of a contract by Minnesota.
It is a hell of a contract by Minnesota.
$5 million is crazy. Like,
nuts.
He had 60 points last year, and he can get 70.
McBain is making more than him.
Cash wise? Close.
I think AAV.
Or on average. No, that wouldn't make sense either.
McBain's at 4.25, but he's only 750. It's still.
I thought he was 5. Never mind.
McBain plus minimum wage equals Rossi.
Oh yeah. And if you're not watching on the video version of this, we are talking about Corey's favorite target for this offseason and Marco Rossi, centerman of the Minnesota Wild, who had plenty of connections to the Mammoths head coach, Andre Tournier. Minnesota seemingly wasn't that interested in signing him and was really floating his name out. Beat reporters and insiders were saying they would be shocked if he was going to still be on the team. And then lo and behold, that dream finally has ended and Marco Rossi has re-signed with Minnesota. But
you remember how Corey said he took
you can't feel like this is super permanent. 3-year deal, $5 million. If Hayton struggles again, maybe that's a situation where Minnesota
keeping
would
the
like
dream
to
alive.
Save a little money.
Yeah.
So
don't do this to him, Brad.
We will revisit, but
don't do this to him, Brad.
Be a chance.
You remember how Corey said in the beginning he took a hockey hiatus? He got real quiet after Rossi signed. Real quiet.
Yeah, that is very true.
He went in the morning. Yeah, it was tough.
I was shocked. I was thinking, okay, if he's not going to come to Utah, I thought maybe Calgary or Vancouver would be the team. I didn't think he was going back to Minnesota at all, based on his postseason comments, and it seemed like he just didn't want to be there, right? And they didn't really seem to like him all that much either. So, but yeah, surprised that 3 years is a bit of an odd number. Not even like a 1-year deal, and just like, okay, let's just kick the can down the road for a year and see what happens. But a little strange there that he's back.
Yeah, and teams are playing with newfound money, right? So they and they can almost pigeonhole. I mean, think about the Carconi situation. Carconi had a very unceremonious exit meeting as well, where he flat out said, "I'm going somewhere else." And then he found out there wasn't a market for him out there, and it took a while. And when we first re-signed Carconi, we were all kind of scratching our heads a little bit, like, what? Where did this come from? But that's the world that we're living in right now, with teams increasing their cap and having the ability and just saying, hey, if you can go find what you want, great. If not, you can circle back to us. We could use the depth, but we're not promising you anything. And I think that's where the Carconi situation lies right now. He needed a job. And in the Rossi situation, I mean, they still control his rights. I mean, there's, at this point, it's either we found a trade partner. I'm willing to do it, but this is where you're going. And let's say it's a team, no offense, guys, but like a team like Buffalo. So I can trade you to Buffalo for this package, or you could sign for this deal right here. What do you want? Like, all right, I'll sign for this deal. So it'll be interesting. The next few years in the NHL are going to be extremely exciting, just because we're going to finally see some really wonky stuff with the newfound money that these guys have.
Yeah.
So if you are Bill Armstrong, do you sign Hayton now, or do you wait a year to see what happens?
Okay. Yeah. So going back to the question, do we think post Rossi contract, Hayton's agent tries to get his contract done while healthy? Yes, I think his agent does. Does BA?
I don't think it's really a health concern with Hayton. I think it's more of a production concern. So yeah, he's probably safe for 45 points, but can he get? What if he gets 70 this year?
Who's willing to budge first, I guess, is going to be the situation. And honestly, yeah, I think it's going to be really dependent on how Hayton looks out the gate. Last season, he had like 2 goals in the first couple games and then just went cold again.
If you're scrolling Twitter and you see a headline that says Utah has re-signed Barrett Hayton, 4 years, $6 million a year, what's your thoughts on that?
That's it.
As in the season hasn't started and that comes out?
Yeah.
I'd say that's fine. I mean, that's a tradable contract for sure.
Yep.
He's basically locked in as the second line center, long-term-ish.
Youngish too. I mean, he's still pretty young. That's a tradable contract. And if you don't want to trade him, then you have a center on your roster for the next 4 years, making.
Yep.
I don't want to say peanuts. $6 million is not peanuts. I'd kill for that, but really, I would. But I think that in the rising cap, that's kind of not a big deal. It's we'd be happy to have a center secured for that contract.
And how many years do you not care about paying your third line center who can put up 35 to 45, $6 million and PK?
Like up to what year?
Not very long.
Yeah.
We need that cash
Like, yeah,
soon.
when do you not even bat an eye? And like how many more seasons down the road do you not even think about that type of money?
I don't think I'd go past 5. Is that what you're asking? I want to make sure I'm understanding. So,
Well,
if like,
because okay, here, wait, yeah, let me back this up.
Mhm.
Desnoyers is drafted to be our 2C, right?
Mhm.
In 3 years, say we sign Hayton to 4-year, $6 million before the season starts. So in 2 years here, Desnoyers won't be on the team this year. He's going back to the Wildcats. With the wrist surgery, there's just no way I can see him getting a NCAA contract at this point, and nor do I think it would be good for his development. So that would be year 1 of the 4-year at $6 million. Year 2, does Desnoyers make the team next year, or is he in the AHL? Can he go to the AHL?
I'm not sure if he can go.
I don't know when the new CBA rules kick in, but
I don't either.
I think he'd have to go back to Moncton. Because I think the CBA has 2 or 3 years left on it. So
could he go to NCAA at that point?
He could, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
okay,
if
so
any
he
year,
has some flexibility.
Can he go if he's already signed his ELC?
That's why I don't.
There's been too many rule changes in too short of a
yeah,
time.
He can't.
he
Okay.
can't go. And yeah, so I know. I'm
there we go.
kind of in a hockey hiatus
with the one
as well.
player exception that Rod's bringing up. He would be able to go to AHL.
Okay,
as long as that CBA is kicked in.
He can
I
go,
think that's the only thing we're trying to determine.
So
regardless,
there's a 1-player exception now. I didn't even know that.
In the next CBA, whenever that kicks in.
Yeah, that's part of the new CBA.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. All right. Wow, that's neat.
There we go. Flo confirming CBA next.
So one more season on the current. Okay.
So that means.
But to answer your question, I do think that out of all the prospects that can jump after one junior season post draft, I think it would be Desnoyers. I mean, he's got such a well polished 2-way game already, and that's what they have to focus on. And of course, the wrist injury kind of throws a wrench into things, but I could absolutely see him just completely skipping the AHL as well. So that would be interesting. Again, good problem to have.
Yeah. So
but the third year,
if he's on the roster next season on the third line, right? Because I doubt he'd be thrown in a top 6. That'd be year 2 of a hypothetical 4-year, $6 million contract of Hayton. Then if he's able to make that jump to 2C the following year, or maybe he's a 2, 3C kind of back and forth throughout the season, only going up for injuries or when Hayton gets cold. Now you're talking about that third year. You're realistically
could be ready
potentially.
Then too.
Yes. So you're realistically only paying Hayton $6 million as a 3C for 1 to 2 seasons if he were to sign today. So I'd be fine with that. And if it just didn't work out with the way some of these teams are going to be taking for McKenna and next year's draft class, I have no doubt in my mind you can dump a young $6 million 2-3C center to a team that's going full rebuild.
Yeah.
And we have the assets.
It's more the term. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about the cap hit because I think he's a safe bet for 45 points. But yeah, it is the term.
Yeah, in another thing that we have to think of, and I think Trent's pretty adamant about it. I don't know. I might be misremembering this, but I think Trent's pretty adamant that Tease is going to play center in the NHL.
No, I don't.
They tried it with Kelowna last year. It didn't really work. So it was a good experiment, but it didn't work out. So I think he's going to be a wing.
He's going to be a wing in the NHL. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not only did it didn't just get cut short because of the injury too. I think he was already starting to get more time on wing before it happened.
Okay.
But
yeah,
which is kind of where I'd want to see him. I like to have a player like a Schmaltz that if you have to have him take a draw every once in a while, he
very well maybe he'll do that and pivot to playing center at times if needed. But yeah.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see what we do in the following drafts, right? I'm at the point now where I feel like we've hit the mountaintop for collecting prospects, and it's going to be so weird to see how we approach the following drafts. Are we just going to be like a Tampa and just start trading first round picks all the time?
See, you get in trouble when you do it too much. Look at Pittsburgh.
You win cups when you do
that. I'm fine if they do it for a year or two, and then you got to get some prospects back into your pool. You can't just do it every single season, though. But yeah, I think I'm hoping with how deep this draft class in 26 is supposed to be, I do hope they hang on to this one and let this be the end for drafting multiple prospects in the top 60, and then after that start moving picks out for a couple of years, and then start replenishing that pipeline.
You have 3 second rounders if we want to move some picks at the deadline, so
that's
keep
why
the first, but move those picks.
Or I don't mind a couple dart throws there, or consolidate 2 of those into something. And I still feel like the defense could use some work. It still
our
feel
defense
like
pipeline too.
Both sides. The pipeline and the current roster players. I think you could find ways to upgrade. It's gonna be interesting. It's crazy to think that we have so many picks again and a deep draft. After we just drafted 4th overall because of a lotto win.
Yeah, and that's a it's kind of a nice segue into something else we wanted to talk about. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting October and November this year, because it depending on how we start, I think you're going to see Bill Armstrong be his most aggressive version mid-season of himself ever. He's definitely been more of an off-season general manager. And last year we saw additions like Olimata, which ended up being a great deal. But it wasn't necessarily like a league breaker, right?
No, and that was an emergency move.
Yeah, ended up working out really, really well. But still, I think that now that the roster is as stacked as it ever has been, and of course we got a plethora of picks and prospects that, we're probably not going to be able to sign all of them, and some names that we're going to kind of cringe at losing if we just let them walk. I think if they struggle out of the gate, I think you're going to see something addressed right away. I think maybe
I agree.
Maybe mid-November you might see a big move. On the flip side, on the flip side, I think if we get off to a hot start, right, and we're near the top of the standings, potentially out of a wild card spot, which I think is another interesting topic. The Central is pretty stacked, but we could. I mean, the Pacific's pretty stacked, but we could pounce on some teams in the Central if we wanted to. I think that if we get off to a hot start, you could also see him do what John Chaika did a while ago and go out and look for Taylor Hall before the holidays, right? Hey, this team has gotten onto a roll. I want to keep this roll going. Let's dump some picks and prospects and get somebody that can help this team right away to continue that momentum. So obviously that's a bad comparison, because that didn't really work out all that well. Thanks, Rick Tocchet, for playing Darcy Kemper until his legs fell off. But that's a story for another day. But in both scenarios, if we struggle or if we're hot, I could see the first couple months of the season being pretty exciting.
Interesting.
Busy.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point too, because we've never really seen Bill Armstrong be much of a mover around the trade deadline. So I don't foresee that being how he operates, period. So I think he'd much prefer to upgrade this roster because they're playing well before the holiday break, or if there's injuries or the team is losing, make those trades to try to keep them as competitive as possible earlier on into the season.
And
So-
after we were, I'm sorry, and after we were done making all of our big moves this summer, after the Paterka trade and after the Tanev signing, a week or so went by, and we thought maybe this is it. And all of a sudden, we were one of the finalists in the Nick Ehlers conversation. That was so. I think that's an indication that Bill Armstrong probably didn't get every move he wanted to get done or address every move that he wanted to do this offseason, but he's happy enough to go into the season and say, okay, let's see how we start. And if I need to fine tune it right off the bat, I will.
So I'm going to do this little exercise. And if you're in the chat, feel free to chime in too. I'm going to give you a couple names here. If we needed to make a trade to upgrade, which means trading a player to upgrade that position, or there's like more of they're slumping. Let's leave injuries out of it, but they're slumping, and they want to make that upgrade to hopefully get the team on the right spot. Who out of these three names, one of each position, do you think is most likely to be moved? Nick Schmaltz, Sean Durzi, or Vejmelka?
Schmaltz.
You said Vejmelka?
Yeah.
Oof. I don't think Vejmelka's going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to play out his contract. I agree. Like I'm, the pessimist in me, the inner Coyotes fan in me is like, man, I want to truly believe that Vejmelka is a number one goalie in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he's had a great year, but I mean, the years before then, I know he had bad teams in front of him, but he just didn't have the best numbers. He put on the advanced stats looked really good, but I share your skepticism with Vejmelka, but I just don't think he's going anywhere. Goalie trades are pretty rare anyway. But I would say just based off of desire, I could see Durzi commanding the most. There'd be the most interest in Durzi, but based off of importance of position, I'd say Schmaltz is definitely the one that we would move first. So other teams looking in, Durzi, us looking out, Schmaltz.
Yeah, I don't think we have any intention to re-sign Schmaltz, so I think that makes him the easiest to move. Durzi, we don't have anyone who can play the power play on defense beyond Sergachev and Durzi, so that gives you two options. So if you move him, you're down to one. I think.
Don't forget this is an upgrade.
Yeah, so, there's an upgrade situation.
Like Durzi and something for
another D coming back.
Rasmus Anderson.
Right.
Oof, that would be exciting. Rasmus Anderson and Sergachev on the same team. I mean, I
think Schmaltz is still probably the easiest one to do, especially if it's to a rebuilding team to get like a Raquel or something like that, or a Brian Russ. So a guy that's a little bit better two-way if we're just struggling with the defensive play of the top six or something. I think I really don't think you should just completely dismiss Vejmelka, though.
Oh man, I don't know, Bob.
Bill Armstrong wanted a goalie for so long. I just don't think you can say that that's not happening.
Who are you trading him for?
Sorokin. Swayman too.
Sorokin. Oh yeah, Sorokin's interesting.
Well, remember that was the guy, and I think Sarah Valley. Credit to Sarah Valley. I might be it was a heavy hitter. Somebody did say a couple weeks after the draft that's what Bill Armstrong was asking the Islanders for to move up was Sorokin, and I'm pretty sure Sarah Valley. I'm gonna have to try to find it and send it to you guys later, but. That's kind of crazy to think about after you just handed Vejmelka a contract the day before that trade deadline. All of a sudden, what happens to Vejmelka? Is he no longer is Sorokin the backup? No, he's not. I mean, he's an elite goalie. So you did just jog my memory a little bit and thinking like maybe he is, searching for that. And I've been one of the biggest advocates of securing a young, high potential goalie for a long time, especially with Harabel's situation up in the air still. But yeah, that would be interesting. So I guess I'll change my stance a little bit. I don't think there's no chance he's going anywhere, but I'd say it's the slimmest out of all three of them.
I don't know. I think Jersey's probably the slimmest. I mean, there's a UC Saros that could potentially be out there too. Same age as Sorokin, 30.
I don't know. Saros doesn't seem like a Bill Armstrong goalie. He's small.
That's true.
He's small.
The Swayman name is interesting, right? Because Boston's going to suck.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense to have
and the
this.
Islanders are too.
Yeah, but how old's Sorokin now? Like 32, something like that?
30. No, he's just 30. He's 30.
And Vejmelka's what, 29?
Yeah.
Swayman has, like Team USA credentials. He was someone Bill tried to get before.
Yeah.
I think he's a great goalie. I think he struggled in Boston last year, but I think he missed time at the training camp because he wasn't signed, and the whole year was just kind of on a weird funk because of that. But
yeah,
that'd be interesting. So Vejmelka plus something for Swayman, Vejmelka, and I don't know, all 3 second-round picks.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
would you do that
this year?
No, all three of them
this year.
I absolutely would, as long as we get to keep the first. Then yeah.
Okay.
I think I would do 2 this year and 1 the following.
Okay, I'd prefer to do that.
Yeah.
Spread them out a little bit.
In a deep draft too, like you never know who's going to fall into the second round. Like if this is as deep of a draft as they're saying, like the 2015 and the 2003 draft, look at the guys that slipped to the second rounds in those drafts. You got Patrice Bergeron and God, I can't think of a Braden Point in the 2015 one. I think that's it. So those, you can still get elite players in the second round, and early second round too. And I'm assuming some of those, at least a couple of those seconds, are going to be pretty early on. So, but yeah, I would do that. If we just say Vejmelka plus 3 seconds for Swayman, I would do that in a heartbeat. That would be an emergency podcast where I'm drinking 7 beers to the face, just celebrating. So the other option, the only one that's so diluted and it's the easiest one, right? It's Schmaltz, right? But
yeah, what if scoring's not the problem?
Well, scoring. My biggest worry is that we're gonna move Schmaltz out. And we're going to get somebody like Rust or Raquel. I don't want anything to do with the Penguins players. I'm sorry. They're on a team that's got somebody like Crosby in the locker room. Both of those guys are older than I'd like them to be, right? I think Rust is in his early 30s. I know Raquel is getting up there too. Yeah, they had a couple good years. I mean, Rust's been more consistent than Raquel. Raquel had a couple years where he was just like, blah, there was nothing there. Yeah. And so I don't see the desire with Raquel like everybody else does. I think yeah, I like that. I think the small situation is kind of scary though, because there's like so many different options you can choose from. You don't know who, like, unless you're getting like a somebody that it's a no-brainer. It might just be a lateral move. It might be a lateral move.
So I think you will not be able to upgrade the point production from Schmaltz as a point per game production and playmaking ability without having to pay dearly. And I just don't think those players are available. So you're looking for a guy who can put up 55 to 65 points. Mm-hmm. The upgrade happens with the two-way play, though, especially with the makeup of the current top 6. So you essentially are looking for a player who would be a better fit on line 2, may not need power play 1 minutes, and can still put up 45 to 55 points with mostly even strength production.
I just don't
that
know
to me is an upgrade, because then it just, like, when I think about that second line of Hayton, Peterka, Schmaltz, I do think we're all going to have some less hair at the end of the season and severe heartburn and indigestion during certain games, and we'll lines. But I think if you were to bring in Zaka for Schmaltz, I think you would.
Yeah. Well,
I would do that today.
Yeah.
You do Pavel Zaka for Schmaltz today?
Yeah, because
as long as it doesn't hurt
Soren's
the
both
locker room
center
too
ice.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I don't care. If the locker room falls apart because Nick Schmaltz got traded, there was bigger issues than that.
I don't even think that's a question anymore.
You got to think that they're like, okay, he's probably not going to be here tomorrow or next.
No,
next
I don't even think that's a question anymore. I think the only player I would have worried about back then would have been Keller. But Keller, this is his team, and he is a man on a mission. I doubt that he's gonna cry about Schmaltz being gone. But anyway, that's an interesting conversation. That would have to be like a pure change of scenery move, because I don't see a rebuilding team taking on Schmaltz. I don't know. I just think that
he's gone next year. You could probably get him signed. Like Chicago messed up because they don't have a Schmaltz.
That's ironic too, isn't it?
No, you can take him and flip him at the deadline.
I guess that's true. I mean, if he's the best player, if he's the best or top 3 player on a rebuilding team, it's not always the worst thing. I mean, you do still have to fill seats, but I don't know. I think if you really want to get the most bang for your buck, you'd have to, find a team that's okay taking him on, or you'd have to approach a team and then significantly overpay with Schmaltz included. So I don't know. That would be an interesting one. That's why it's the most confusing trade out of all of them. I think Vejmelka is like the most slam dunk trade, right? That's, if you can upgrade him, you only need him because he's a starting goalie, and then a buttload of prospects or picks. Probably the same in your scenario, Durzi for Anderson. I love that trade. Actually, I might do that on NHL 25 tonight and see how that goes. But out of all 3 of those, I think our consensus is that Schmaltz will probably be the guy on his way out. I don't know. Now, consensus between me and Corey, I guess.
The interesting thing when you brought up the Ehlers point too is that we weren't in. Oh, never mind. I take that back. I was going to say we weren't really in rumors for defensemen this offseason, but the Ekblad rumor was out there, and Merrick was really, really pounding the table that he had heard connections between Utah and Ekblad. So they definitely probably think the defense could be upgraded, but I also get the sense that Bill Armstrong's just one to always leave options open. If he can upgrade a spot, he will upgrade the spot, and he just checks if it's possible or not. But well, we're hitting about an hour. Any other comments from anybody that's watching in the comments section? Any other questions you got us? I saw one I wanted to bring up from Superfin a little bit ago, who's one of our VIP posters in our Discord. And if you're not in there, if you want to kill the last couple of weeks before training camp gets started, head on over to the Clean Hits Discord. You can find that at discord.cleanhitshockey.com. Have a fantastic community there. Game day threads are insane. Prospect Fed has been tripping all summer. Lots of fun to be had with fellow mammoth-sized mammoth fans, if you will, in there. Again, that's discord.cleanhits.hockey.com. And again, if you want to help support the podcast and the community we're building, you can become a super fan on our YouTube page, or you can head on over to shop.cleanhitshockey.com to grab some merch. We got tons of shirt designs. We'll be making some more, obviously, this season. But Superfin asked, what 3 players will end the year with top 3 in points, I assume, on the Mammoth? So why don't we end this Q&A show with this question, unless we get some new ones in the chat. Let us know what you think.
Let's automatically take one off the board. Number 1, we know Keller. Who that's going to be.
And I'm just, there's no injuries involved, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They play their like league average of what they typically play.
So 2, 3, 4 we want?
Yeah, let's do
okay,
2,
why
3,
don't we
4.
do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're taking Keller off. Okay.
I like that idea. That's not what I meant, but I like that idea better.
Could surpass him this season?
No.
No.
I don't either.
I mean,
Do you
What did he get last year?
here's-
90
here's
points?
here's a better
yeah,
question.
90.
Here's a better question.
Hmm.
Will Keller have more points than he did last season?
I think this is his first 100-point season.
Whoa,
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
There's the Team USA thing as well, right? If he wants to get on that
Yep.
Olympic team.
Yeah,
fire
but
it
is
up.
that going to
Get
be a
snubbed
lot
last
of
year.
hockey for him?
I mean, he's been skating pretty much all offseason too, which is crazy. I think this guy is the most driven player. He's quiet, he's silent, but I think he leads by example. And I think that Keller is going to know the gravity of this situation this year. This is a young core that can really start something as early as this year, and a playoff appearance would be so instrumental to the years to come. I think he's going to be a man on fire this year.
Plus, it's not that much more hockey, right? When Canada knocks USA out of the tournament early. So.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I see all these comments are like when the USA dropped their preliminary camp invites and everything. There's a lot of Canadian fans like, that's a really good roster for silver medal, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go. This is our year. We've already done it.
Yeah,
I think Rod has the easiest answer of Cooley, Gunther, Peterka for 2, 3, and 4, and it's hard to argue that.
It
without
is
injury.
Okay, in what order?
That order.
Man, that's tough. I mean, I think you would have to see who gets to play with Keller, right?
I could see. No disrespect to Cooley, is one of my favorite players on the team, if not my favorite. But I could see, since Cooley is a center, him having less points than Gunther. Now I know everybody's going to say, "Well, who's passing him the puck?" Someone's got to be passing him the puck, but you got to think that they're not always going to be playing together on the power play. I do think that a center's job is to go back and forecheck and make sure that the defensive zone is taken care of as well, and the winger's jobs are to cover the man on the point when you're defending, and then be ready to take off and go down the wing. So, I mean, the winger's job is to go score goals, no matter who's throwing them the puck or if they're turning it over themselves. So I could see, with Cooley's extra responsibilities, him being a little bit less than Gunther. I agree, though. I do think Gunther is going to outscore Peterka, and I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to be Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about this? It's Gunther, Peterka, Sergachev.
That would be pretty insane, I think.
And if Sergachev were to be in the top 4, I imagine it would only be by like a point or two. So let's say Cooley puts up. See, the thing is, he put up 65 points last year and missed 15 games or 10.
Really? Yeah,
I mean 10. I'm sorry. So 75 games, 65 points, 25 goals. It's just really, really hard to think that he doesn't get 70 points if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be tough for Sergachev to get more than 70 points.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting that high, but I think you could have 6 players with 50 or more.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sergachev's highest scoring year was 64 points, and he was on a loaded Tampa team. That being said, Sergachev put up, I think, 55 or 54 points on Utah last year, obviously as the number 1 defenseman. So I could see him improving his numbers. I don't think he's in the top 4.
I think you guys see his.
We have 6 players that have 60 plus points.
No.
So we got Keller.
Really? You don't think so?
We got Keller.
6 over 60? No.
Keller, Cooley, Peterka, Gunther, Sergachev, and Schmaltz.
I think Schmaltz will have less ice time, and I think Sergachev will as well.
Okay. Hayton?
That's a good point.
Hayton playing with Peterka?
You might be able to put Hayton in that group of 50. You might have 7 over 50, but I don't think we're going to have, would you say 6 over 60?
6 over 60.
No. Remember when Keith Yandel led the team with 33 points?
With you meant 63, right?
33 during one of the lockout years. So I mean, only like 40 something, 50 something games, but still, like.
Well, how many years in a row did the defenseman lead?
Yeah.
Quite a
So many
bit
points
with
for the
between Yando and
Coyotes.
OEL.
Yeah.
I think
Do you
it went
remember when?
Yando, OEL. Maybe
Yeah.
Yando, OEL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
A random Verbata one in there, I think too. But do you remember when Jamie Benn won the Art Ross with like 88 points?
Yes.
I mean, like it's a different NHL nowadays. I mean, you got guys like you're crushing like guaranteed 120. We had not in the not too distant past, we had somebody win the highest point total in a year with 88 points. 88 points. So it's there's going to be a lot of things that factor in here. I think that, and I was listening, I think to the Gregor show, that the league has met with the refs about the lack of penalties that were called last year. There was a significantly lower amount than there has been in a very long time. And so it makes me wonder if we're going to see a little bit of overcorrection there, and the refs association starting to call more penalties. More penalties lead to more power plays. More power plays lead to more goals. So
you have to ask DraftKings.
DraftKings? Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last time I was on there,
if there's going to be more power plays this year or not.
Right. Yeah, and the last time I was on there, I got some pretty bad advice for gambling, so I haven't gone on there since.
All right. Last question from Rod. Will Gunnar or Keller threaten 40 goals? I don't know if Keller will ever hit 40. Gunther will. I think we could have a 235 plus goal scorer seasons.
Oh, I think they can both do 35. I think Gunther, not quite yet. He'll do it soon and on his own. I think Keller will in a couple of years once Cooley gets a couple more years under his belt. I think Gunther can get 40 playing with whatever down the road.
Yeah.
I think he just needs a little more time, but yeah.
I think Gunther could get 40 playing with me. I do think he's going to be this franchise's. I mean, has anybody scored 50 goals in the Coyotes franchise? Was there ever a 50 goal score? Keith Tkachuk scored 50.
Yeah, but back in like 98 or something like that, right?
Okay,
I mean, we just was it Keller who got the 30 goals, and it was the first time since Shane Doan in like 2010 or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. Or no, sorry.
No, Verbata had the
2012
season. Yeah, when that was like the first time we had like a 70-point player in years.
Yeah, Ray Whitney.
Man.
Yeah, times have changed, but I do think that Gunther will eventually be a 50 goal scorer. I think he's going to do that, and I mean, if you go back to our big head hockey interview with Francis, again, we're going to plug that episode because it was really fun to chat with him. He studies players, and he thinks that Gunther is going to be one of I think he even mentioned he might be the best player from that draft after.
He was an advocate for that.
Yeah.
I stand by Wyatt for now, but
yeah. And he mentioned that players around the league talk about Gunther, and we saw that with Connor Bedard saying that he's got one of the best releases in the NHL. It's crazy too, because everybody thinks that it's Austin Matthews has got the best release, and the next person down is Connor Bedard. I mean, Connor Bedard, I know he's probably focusing too much on being a playmaker right now for whatever reason, but I think Gunther will score more goals than Connor Bedard year after year. I think, Connor Bedard might end up with more points, but I think Gunther is one of the best natural goal scorers that the league has seen in a while. And I'm not trying to sound too biased, but just watch his release. I mean, you guys remember that the early on in the season when we were playing New York, and he just slowed back and just outsmarted the play and just wired one home. He is a special player, and it's gonna be fun to watch these players all grow together, especially Cooley and Gunther, our hometown Coyote boys that we felt like we lost, but now fell in love with all over again. So it's going to be really fun.
Yep. Well, I had a blast talking hockey again. It's been a bit for us, so this was really fun. We'll keep on doing a couple more Q&A sessions as we get closer to the actual season. Definitely once training camp starts up again. We're kind of getting back into the swing of things. Again, we'll have a new prospect showdown against the Montreal Canadiens and their stacked prospect pipeline that will be coming out this Friday or next Monday. We're going to be power ranking all the NHL teams like we did last year in like a 2.5 marathon, me and Kenny. But
that was
maybe
fun.
this time we'll go live, let you guys chime in a little bit too, and we'll hopefully try to speed it up a little bit.
I was going to say, I had to pee so bad in that. So if we're going live, you might see my camera turn on. That was the longest episode ever. But yeah, I'm excited.
And then we got trade trees coming too, where we're going to take deep dives into how the Utah Mammoth acquired certain players and kind of the genius of Mr. Bill Armstrong in getting those players and just how deep some of those picks went to just kind of snowball effect into some of the prime pieces that the team has. And of course, we'll be having guests as the season gets rolling and the preseason gets rolling. So feels good. It's right around the corner. And if you can't get enough of the Utah Mammoth, definitely give us a subscribe, a like, a comment, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and then come join the Discord at discord.cleanhitshockey.com. We have a ton of fun there. Thank you for all the support this offseason. Thank you for all the support on that initial season. And I think we are all really, really excited to see what is to come. Anything else, guys?
Nope. Keep your eyes peeled over the next couple weeks. I'm pretty sure the Mammoth jerseys are about to go on sale for the first time.
Nice.
So keep your eyes peeled on that. So I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yep.
Nate Schmidt. I always customize my own jersey. I use every time I get a player on it, they get traded. So I do it. And so Nate Schmidt stole my number, so I'm a little upset with that. But
I'm gonna buy you a Minnesota Rossi jersey.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah. So, no, but yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
All right.
Everybody stay cool in Arizona. Everybody enjoy the weather in Utah while it lasts. And we can't wait to talk more hockey with you.
Yep. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye.
Bye.
We're running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.